Did you know that looking up property taxes in Kansas could literally save you thousands of dollars on your next real estate investment? Or, hey, just keep you from overpaying on your current home? Well, let's jump right into this explainer and unlock exactly how to figure out what you owe on your Kansas property, all in just a few clicks. Whether you're buying your first place, you're a seasoned investor, or you're just auditing your own bills, mastering this public data is a total game changer.
I mean, think about it. Over a 30-year mortgage, the property taxes on your home could actually end up costing more than the market value of the property itself. Crazy, right? That is a massive expense. By learning how to navigate Kansas's specific property tax databases, you can protect yourself from some seriously unexpected financial burdens, audit your current bills, and just make incredibly informed decisions before you ever sign an offer.
So here is our quick roadmap for today. We're going over 1. Understanding Kansas property taxes. 2. Official tools and databases. 3. Step-by-step address lookup. 4. Exemptions and tax appeals. And finally, 5. Warnings and legal disclaimers. Let's get into it.
Section 1. Understanding Kansas property taxes. The math behind the bill. All right, before we start pulling up any records, we really need to understand the Kansas ad valorem system. This is the whole funding engine for local schools, parks, emergency services, you name it, overseen by the Department of Revenue. Now, the really fascinating part here is that 11.5% residential assessment rate. Basically, in Kansas, you are not taxed on the full market value of your home. You're only taxed on a fraction of it. It's baked right into the state constitution. So let's say your home has a fair market value of $250,000. Your assessed value, the actual number you're taxed on, is just $28,750. When you compare that to states assessing it up to 100%, well, this fundamentally flips how your final bill is calculated.
Okay, so once we have that lower assessed value, the county applies what's called a mill levy. And don't let the jargon scare you. 1 mill is simply $1 in taxes for every $1,000 of your assessed value. So, going back to our $28,750 example, if your local mill levy is, let's say, $25, your property taxes come out to roughly $719. And remember, that mill levy fluctuates every single year. If your town decides to build a brand new high school or upgrade the fire department, those local budget choices directly hit your final tax rate.
So it's absolutely crucial to separate the appraised value from the assessed value. They are completely different beasts. The appraised value is what the county appraiser thinks your home would sell for based on the market, the size, the age, all as of January 1st. But the assessed value, that is strictly that 11.5% slice for residential properties. And local county governments cannot change that assessment rate. That is a strict mandate from the state level.
Moving on to Section 2, Official Tools and Databases. Where to search?
When it comes to actually finding this data, you want to completely skip those random third-party sites and go straight to the official government portals. Depending on where you're looking in Kansas, you've got a few solid options. If you're casting a wide net, the ARCA statewide portal is fantastic because it integrates appraisal data with GIS mapping across participating counties. But if you're looking in major metro areas, use their specific engines. Johnson County uses the Ames engine, which has great predictive text. Sedgwick has its own dedicated portal, and Shawnee County uses Arrays. Each database has its own quirks and features, so just knowing which tool to use for your county is literally half the battle to getting real-time tax data.
Section 3. Step-by-step address lookup. The search process.
All right, let's make this concrete and actually walk through a search. We'll use Sedgwick County as our example, since their portal is super robust. When you log on, you have to follow a specific flow. Step 1 is actually a legal hurdle. Before you even get a search bar, you have to agree to a mandatory legal certification, promising you aren't going to use the data for telemarketing. Once you clear that, Step 2 is typing in the exact physical street address or the unique parcel identification number, the PIN. Hit search, and boom. Step 3, you land on a dashboard packed with data.
And once that search executes, it unlocks 5 supercritical data sections. Property details gives you the raw physical characteristics of the land. Appraisals and assessments shows the valuation history, which, by the way, is a phenomenal tool if you're an investor trying to track market trends over time. Then special assessments will flag any localized infrastructure costs tied to the property. Finally, billings and transactions shows the real-time collection balances. Seeing a history of unpaid taxes here, that could be a huge red flag if you're buying, or honestly a massive green light if you're a tax lien investor.
Now, if you happen to be looking outside of Sedgwick, you'll find some pretty neat features. Platforms like Johnson County's Ames actually predict the address as you type. Get 3 characters in, and it drops down a verified list, which totally solves the headache of formatting an address wrong and getting 0 results. Plus, systems like Shawnee County's Heirs will link you straight from the property profile directly to the official state icon payment portal, making it incredibly easy to just view your balances and pay securely.
Section 4. Exemptions and tax appeals. Lowering your bill.
So what happens if you look up your property, or maybe one you're eyeing to buy, and the tax bill is just shockingly high? Well, don't panic yet. You might actually be eligible to lower that burden. Kansas offers a few really great relief programs. There's the Homestead Property Tax Refund, which gives qualifying homeowners a rebate on their primary residence based on income. Then you've got SafeSR for low-income seniors and SVR refunds for veterans, surviving spouses, and disabled individuals. Just one pro tip here: to actually claim these deductions, you generally have to file between January 1st and April 15th. Mark your calendar.
But what if the appraised value of the home is just flat out wrong? Look, appraisers evaluate properties in bulk. Mistakes happen. If you have solid proof your appraisal is too high, there is a very specific appeals process. First up, you set up an informal hearing with the county appraiser. If they don't budge, it escalates. Step 2 means you have to exchange exhibits and witness lists 20 days before a formal hearing. And finally, Step 3 is taking your case to the big leagues, the Kansas Board of Tax Appeals, or BOTA, a 3-judge panel in Topeka. But listen, you have to bring the receipts, hard evidence, like recent comparable sales or photos of major property damage, to prove their number is off.
Section 5. Warnings and legal disclaimers. Rules of the road.
Okay, before we wrap up this explainer, we absolutely have to talk about the legal guardrails here. Remember that anti-solicitation law you have to agree to before searching? That's KSA 45200. In plain English, it means you cannot scrape these tax records to build commercial sales pitches. No way. You can't just look up a neighborhood, download all the owner names, and start cold calling them to sell roofing services or offer cash for their houses. This public data is strictly for transparency and administrative use, not telemarketing. And trust me, violating this carries some very real legal consequences.
Also, a quick reality check straight from the counties. These systems update at totally different times. The appraised value and the tax info might not perfectly align on the exact day you decide to check it, so this data is furnished strictly as a public service and for educational purposes. The counties assume zero liability for inaccuracies. If you are about to make a major real estate transaction or you're dealing with a complex tax liability, always verify your findings with a certified tax professional or the actual county officials.
Well, we've covered the math, the tools, the appeals process, and the rules. With thousands of dollars on the line over the lifespan of a property, isn't it time you audited your own Kansas property tax record? Take a few minutes today, log on, verify your values, and see if you qualify for any exemptions. Thanks so much for joining me today, and make sure to subscribe to The Explainer to keep empowering your real estate journey. Until next time, I want you to ask yourself, if this much financial leverage is just hiding in plain sight, what other incredibly valuable data is sitting on your local government servers, waiting for you just a click away?